So you are looking at the comment, and you should be closing down your week 8 discussion thread in regards to the arts and how it fits within the context of, say, worship or local church experiences. Just so you know, my personal take on all these things is a lot of people are moving back to the arts. Some are, and I would put the liturgical feelings and liturgical wants and desires of many people. So I've seen students get more in tune into, such as the Anglican movement, and maybe they have a professor that has talked about some of the ancient traditions, and so they feel that they're missing some of those aspects within their worship service, and so one tradition may fit within their context. And so Wright is asking this very question for himself, and maybe even for the readers and us in general, as we think about the great beauty that God provides through the arts, music and literature, and dance and theater. How might we think through that intellectually? Does art fit within the context of worship? And what about dance? Some might do an interpretive dance in which, while singing is taking place, there is someone who's thoughtfully taken through a routine and leads God's people in that worship segment. And then you have others that believe theater is an excellent way to display God's beauty, doing a play, a skit, maybe it's a biographical sketch of someone's life. And so it may change from one tradition to another. Others in one denomination would say, well, none of that should fit, only that which is sacred should fit within the context of worship. And so you have some certain denominations that would say only the Psalms should be sung in the context of a local service, and they would safeguard that particular sacred element in its overall instruction for God's people. But Wright is helpful into thinking through that all that God has created and that which He has blessed, that which He has caused to come into existence. There is one author that says all truth is God's truth, and therefore if there's truth in a particular element of art or of music or of literature that we should focus on, we should encourage God's people to read or think through critically and maybe ultimately arrive at some meaning that is within that particular poetry or narrative or novel, or the sky just kind of opens up. And so you might have been stretched here to think maybe about your local ministry, how it might fit. Maybe there's an expanse in regards to applying more arts in your local church. I've seen churches do art fairs where people can bring their different skill. Some also go into more advanced musical orchestra where people who have gifts in certain instruments are able to come and do a special music from Handel's Messiah to the next. So a thoughtful discussion here for this week. If you've not finished, you need to finish here by 11:59. And I hope you were encouraged maybe to think a little bit more deeper here for what Wright is trying for you to maybe be stretched with in your application of all that God has communicated in Scripture in its finality as we close down the New Testament in our story and structure of the Bible.